And Putin, just a sidebar, wants his hands on Fauci as well. Everybody wants to prosecute these people, the international courts, Putin over there in Russia, and certainly us in Gitmo or Gitmo type sites that we have. Nuremberg 2.0, any feedback or comments on what's about to shake the rafters of this universe?
Absolutely. And this is a good point. Let me just talk about Nuremberg 1.0 to put Nuremberg 2.0 into context. Nuremberg trials after World War II prosecuted the leadership of the Nazi organization for crimes against humanity. And this was a world first. And many people criticized it because they thought this is the victors imposing a limited penalty over those that lost the war. And to an extent, they were right. Because Nuremberg 1.0 was a tremendous step forward for humanity in holding the planet to some sort of moral standard. Up to that point, it was very little. Trouble is with 1.0, they focused on the leadership. They focused on the leadership. Nuremberg 2.0, everybody goes down. That's point number one. Nuremberg 1.0, the leadership was charged, found guilty, hung, or imprisoned. And in fact, some of them ended up as leaders of the European community. Nazi officers led Europe after a period that people forgot what was going on. Nuremberg 2.0 won't be like that. So point one, 2.0 is going to include not just the leaders, but everybody. Everybody's going down. RICO is the mechanism by which it's done. It will be done by law and order, and you're going to hear a lot of this, law and order. Everything must be done according to a set of law and order. And that's mandatory. Otherwise, it just sounds like somebody with a bigger gun won. Well, that's not the case. So point one, it's not just the leadership going down, everyone goes down. Point number two, those that profited and hid in the background, like Ford Motor Company, who provided engines to both the Americans and the Germans. Coca-Cola, who provided drinks for the Americans and the Germans. In fact, they made a transparent Coca-Cola because they didn't want Goering be seen to be drinking the original Coke, so they made a transparent one for Goering. Adolf Hitler had a picture of Henry Ford in his office. Henry Ford was granted the highest Nazi civilian award. Fuel companies, Standard Oil provided special agents to add to aviation fuel to prevent knocking for high-performance aircraft at altitude. You know, without that contribution, the Luftwaffe would have failed miserably. So you can see now, it's not just the leadership, but the corporations, the amoral corporations that assisted and profited off the deaths of GIs on the beaches of Normandy and in the African desert and in the skies over Europe. They are going down in Nuremberg 2.0. So now, again, so before it was just the leadership, everyone's going down, and the corporations that profited, they are going down. So you can see there is a parallel here. A standard is being held according to a set of rules, but now everyone goes down, and they're going down lawfully and legally. And so 1.0 and 2.0 Nuremberg. Third difference, Nuremberg trials were done and recorded, and everybody got to see it. In fact, there's an excellent movie involving the Nuremberg trials in which an impassioned plea by a German defense counsel points out the criminals in the US business community were allowed to go free. But the third point is this: instead of having a series of trials that people could watch and record, most of these trials have already taken place. There won't be one single Nuremberg 2.0 event. These events have already taken place over many, many years, as we have reported over many years. The military tribunals under Rear Admiral Crandall initially, and then spread out after that, have been heard. The criminals have been charged, tried, found guilty, and executed. And the evidence of this will be rolled out in time, progressively, in order to let the people know that justice has been served. It's just not mindless retribution. Justice has been served, so it'll be released over time. The fourth difference, it'll be the complicit actions of non-military, non-warlike assets like Hollywood, like the music industry, like the sporting industry, the general entertainment industry, all of these people who have been used to brainwash, persuade us, provide social proof of depraved activities to say it's okay to do it, they will also go down too. So there's another level again. And that's why this whole process is going to be so difficult for the world, because they'll be saying, but what about my favorite cricketer from Australia? Well, no, he was actually a pedophile and he didn't fall off a balcony. He was put down, for example. What about my favorite NFL star? What about my favorite NBA star? And they're going to find out that everybody and everything they believed, looked up to, admired, were inspired by, they're going to go down too. So that's why, again, this moral wound, it will be so deep and so painful, it's got to be managed in a very measured way, lest the population of the planet go into collective psychotic shock, which they will. So it's going to be done